Hello guys, I'm Cardboard Pops, and today we're going to be making the 2099 Spider-Man social distancing mask. So now I'm going to cut them out, So now I got my cardboard that I'm going to use, and I'm going to cut these templates and trace them out and put them on the cardboard, and then I'll be gluing them together. So you'll be seeing me do that in a moment. So we're going to need this piece a little bit later, so you can put this to the side, and then the other pieces right here we're going to be using to make the actual base of the mask. This is just for detail. So put this to the side and we'll be using this later. So right here I am taking thumbtacks and I am putting them on the template, so it's hold the template to the cardboard, so it'd be easier for me to trace it out with a pencil. So now that you're done tracing out the first piece, you're going to want to trace out again, because you're going to need the same piece again, and you're just basically going to flip it over. So you're going to do these processes twice. You're going to cut them out twice, and obviously trace them out twice. So yeah, that's what you're going to have to do, because it's basically mirrored on the other side to make the two halves make one. Now I'm just putting the thumbtacks again on the template so I can trace out the template for the second time. You know what? This test seems kind of messy. Piece number 1 and piece number 2. So I can breathe in the mask, I am tracing out and basically just drawing out a square on both sides, so it'd be basically identical on both sides, so that there's a little pocket that I'll be able to breathe through, because if it's just normal cardboard you won't be able to breathe through it. So I want this mask to be like a social distancing mask, so I'm gonna have fabric behind it, and there's a little hole so air can come in, and I use black fabric, which will blend it in with all the colors later. Tape to hold the seams shut, so then I'll eventually be able to glue on the back, so it'll be nice clean and it won't be all that glue marks on the front. It'll be on the back, so it'll look nice and smooth when done gluing it. So I also recommend when you do this process you use a lot of masking tape, because masking tape is not the strongest tape. Duct tape I wouldn't use, because it'll rip off the cardboard a lot, and so I use masking tape, but when you do use it, use a considerably good amount of masking tape. When I was doing this, I had it sit for a few minutes, it did not do well. It came undone, and I had to redo this process like 2 times. So luckily you guys only get to see me do this 1 time, but I just want to tell you my mistakes, so when you do it, you don't make the same mistakes I do. Side, then I'm going to glue it together. So this is what the mask looks like so far, and this is how it's going to be. And now I'm still waiting for the hot glue gun to heat up, so you'll see me now glue it together. So this is just wanted to show you what it looks like and how it looks like on my face. I thought it was going to be big, but it's actually a nice size. So it's perfect for me, and yeah, so again, I'll leave the templates down below for this, and now you see me glue it all together. Now right here, I am taking the hot glue gun and I am gluing on those seams inside the mask, so then it'll hold together by itself and not being able to rely on the masking tape to hold it together. You can rip off the masking tape, and that's what I'm doing now. Be careful that you don't rip off the cardboard. I kind of did a little bit, but make sure you don't rip off a whole lot. You can see I just did very little, but make sure you don't do a lot of it. But if you do a little, that's okay. And right now I'm just ripping off the rest of the masking tape, and the glue you can see is holding the mask together. So, in the time I did this off camera, but I did take electrical tape and I put on the seams so it would smooth it out. So now it looks all smooth. Now I'm gonna change it to glue, and then we're gonna be sticking on like this. It's gonna basically line up like this. I had to make my mask a little smaller so to see how it lines over the edge a little bit. But If you have a bigger face and the mask is a lot bigger for you, it would fit perfectly. But I just had to cut it down because it didn't fit me in originally. So this is what I'm going to be putting on, and you see it just comes over just a slight bit, and that's okay. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. So you'll see me do that right now. So right here I am using thumbtacks again to hold down another template, which is for the detail pieces, and this is like a detail that goes on the side of the face. I don't know really what it is, but it's just a design on the mask it has. So it looks like to me like a spider leg, and I have no idea what it is, but that's a detail piece. And then I'm tracing out a cardboard. Also, you're going to want to do this process twice, trace it and cut it out. And then later we're going to be duct taping this piece completely red with red duct tape. So as I said, I am now wrapping the detail pieces in red duct tape, and I did it where I just wrapped it almost completely. I took those tiny like little strips of tape, and then I slowly just wrapped it around it, got into the crevices and the corners. I wouldn't recommend taking a whole lot of it at one time and then doing it. I tried that with one of them, but I found out the best solution was just to use red tiny little red strips of duct tape, because it went on better and it got into the crevices and the curves and it fit all that. So just try your best to wrap it on those pieces, even though it has a lot of curves and all that. But that's basically what I did. But if you want to do it all at once, take big pieces and then work your way like that, it's totally optional. But I'm just saying, from my experience, I experienced that it was easier to use the small strips. up, wrapping in red duct tape, and then I'll be on to the second one, and then I'll be gluing them. For them, I'm gonna hot glue these detail pieces onto the mask. The mask has curves on top, so please I would go by the lines on it. I didn't realize at the beginning, but then right at the last minute I realized that the curves fit almost perfectly with the detail pieces. So the curves will basically guide you, and you're gonna, if depending on how big you make your mask, because I had to trim mine, and so I had to cut mine down a little bit, the detail piece, just because it was hanging over. You can see right there it's hanging over. So you just cut that piece off, the excess stuff, and it fits perfectly. So you're going to want to do the process twice. I'm done. After gluing all the detail pieces on, I end up adding black tape to the inside where the eye holes are, and yeah, so I added that black tape, which you'll see, and then I also added elastic, which is a hair tie, because hair ties are very elastic, so I used that to the back of it, and it fits perfectly. Alright guys, so this is what the finished mask looks like, and I think it came out really well. It fits real well. And I did this off camera, but I added a hair tie, and it's like elastic. So I glued it inside the mask, so it's now like an actual mask to hold on. So then I sewed a piece of fabric together, so it would be black and front, and blue and black. And so then I just glued that in, so now it's an actual mask. So it's not just cardboard and all that. And then I taped this right here all black, because in the photo for the comic, it has the faces all black and all that. So yeah, and then I have this on it. So I think it fits really well, and it looks really good. I'm really proud of it. And a huge shout out to Much Props for having these templates. He also made a Spider-Man 2099 mask too, and I'll have his templates down below, and also a link to his video so you can go check out his 2099 mask. So thank you guys for watching. I'm Cardboard Pops. Bye. And here's a few photos of the mask, of me wearing it, and a few of them off my face. So I hope you guys like this mask I made, and please leave in the comments if you want me to make any more masks. And I hope you guys like this mask that I made. Please like and subscribe if you like these videos, and go follow me on Instagram. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Cardboard Pops. Bye.